In the early part of this millennium, roughly 1 billion people in the world lived below, had a level of living that most people in this room have never experienced and many people have never seen. As best can be determined from the data available, and it's not an easy calculation, roughly the same number of people in the world lived in such extreme poverty 200 years ago. The difference is that 200 years ago, they represented about 80% of the world's population. Today, it's well under 20%. The world's overall success in fighting poverty is undeniable. We face a lot of challenges in the future, including climate change, I'd say. But our success in this area is undeniable. If this momentum can be maintained, it is now more credible than ever that the world can virtually eliminate extreme poverty within a generation. This BBVA Foundation Award recognizes the contributions that data and analysis have played in the successes we have seen against global poverty. And in identifying, and this is very important, and in identifying the continuing challenges we face. One cannot fight poverty without being able to measure it. I led the team that set up the World Bank's global poverty monitoring effort 27 years ago, and have stayed deeply involved in this highly data-intensive work since then. A great many people have been involved in this. Statistics officers across well over 120 countries, assembling data on many millions of people. It's a huge data collection effort. One of the people who was involved in that early work is in this room, my wife, Dominique van der Waal, who I've worked with often over this period. We have documented both successes and failures. Economic growth has generally reduced absolute poverty, but has helped little for reducing relative poverty or inequality. We're seeing rising numbers of relatively poor people in the world alongside falling numbers of absolutely poor people. And the very poorest have often been left behind. We have also learnt much about the potentially complex dynamics involved in growth, inequality, and poverty. Today, high and often rising inequality threatens to undermine prospects for future growth and poverty reduction. Countries starting out with a high poverty rate have had a harder time growing their economies and a harder time assuring that their economic growth is pro-poor. Knowledge about the living conditions of poor people has often played a role in stimulating public action. History is full of examples of this. New data and research have also taught us much about the efficacy of specific anti-poverty policies. We know more today than ever about how to effectively fight poverty. In time, this knowledge yields better policies. Sometimes 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but we do make progress on this agenda. There have been setbacks and long time lags, but history teaches us that new knowledge and public awareness can tilt the balance of political forces to foster better policies, and we have to keep that in mind all the time. The BBVA Foundation Awards recognize the enormous contribution that knowledge can make, the awards across all categories. I am very delighted that my own efforts have also been recognized this way. It is a great honor to accept this award.